we take a live look there at New London visibility. Tough going there, Ryan.
Looks like that's a live shot of like Antarctica, doesn't it? Everything's just
really
like caked over. But yeah, especially when we're talking about the emergency room tomorrow, there's going to be a lot of shoveling and it's going to be a lot of snow to move. And keep your hands out of your snowblower. You have no idea how many people go to the emergency room after a big snowstorm missing a few digits because they try to unclog a snowblower. So it may seem like common sense, and it should be, but you got to be really careful when you're moving this around because, boy, do we have one heck of a snowstorm going on right now, especially south and east of Hartford, where it is just ripping snow in southeastern Connecticut. I mean, this is southeastern Connecticut. You're not one for big snowstorms. It doesn't happen all the time, but you're getting it this time. We do have sleet and rain that is mixing in right now. Rain mixing in southern New London County, sleet up to just south of Norwich, sleet over to about, let's say, East Haddam, back toward Higganum and Killingworth and Madison, Guilford, some sleet. So for the next hour or so, we're going to get a little bit of mixing, and then it's going to crash to the south, that mix line, and we're going to change back over to snow. So sleet and heavy snow mixed with a little bit of rain mixing in right now, southeastern Connecticut. Look up here to the northwest of Hartford. See this white shading, though? This is much lighter snow, so it hasn't been snowing all that hard to the northwest of Hartford, but we still have many, many hours left in this storm, so everyone's going to get at least a period of heavy snow, but it looks like the heaviest accumulations will especially be in eastern Connecticut. Winds are gusting to 49 miles per hour in Groton, 39 miles per hour in New Haven, and 39 in Meriden. It's a blizzard out there, folks, especially in southern and eastern parts of the state. We are talking about power outages, too. Winds are gusting between 40 and 60 miles per hour. Scattered power outages in southeastern Connecticut. Isolated power outages across the rest of the state. Jerry and Keisha, we saw CLMP's reporting now about 13,500 people without power, especially in New London and Middlesex counties. That's where the winds will be strongest over the next hour or two, and then they'll begin to diminish later on tonight. We'll send it back to you.
All right, Ryan, thanks a lot.
All right, if you're interested in meteorology, this is one of the most remarkable winter storms you will ever see. This is a blizzard in downtown Hartford. We're looking toward the Founders Bridge, and yet you can't see much at all. We are looking at snowfall rates that are just coming at an obscene amount. Live pictures from New Haven. It's hard to see much either there as we look down towards Church Street and toward the Green. We are looking at an incredible snowfall, not necessarily just for amounts, but because of the rate that this snow is coming down. We are getting snowfall rates that are approaching 5 or 6 inches an hour, and the snowfall is coming down so hard and the lift in the atmosphere is so much, we're actually developing thunderstorms that are producing small hail. Yeah, that's right. You don't see that in winter storms. We originally thought we had some sleet going on, but yeah, no, there's no sleet. It's not warm enough a lot for sleet. This is some hail that we're getting from thunderstorms that are developing. I mean, this is something else. So here's this band of snow. The Hartford area up toward Windsor and Enfield sort of was missing out on the worst of the storm. Not now. If you look out your window, Hartford, West Hartford, up into the Farmington Valley, it is just coming down at an incredible rate. Same story in Glastonbury. We got an unofficial report of 6 inches of snow in 1 hour in Glastonbury. 6 inches in 1 hour. We have very heavy snow mixed with some of that small hail down in New Haven. Over toward Guilford, 15 inches of snow in Guilford, 16.5 inches of snow and sleet and some of that hail now in Westbrook. We have extremely heavy snow now through central Middlesex County, 15, 16 inches of snow from Haddam to Higganum up toward East Hampton. And the heavy snow continues now into Tolland County, and this band is pivoting back off to the north and to the west. So you can see this heavy stripe of snow now from Hartford to New Haven to Madison, over into Colchester, again mixed with a little bit of sleet and hail, as we've been mentioning. In northwestern Connecticut, it's a little bit lighter, but still coming down at a good clip. We have, Brad, what was it, 10 inches in Winstead, I believe? 10 inches in Winstead. We have a report of 8.5 in Torrington. That's from an hour or so ago, so it's picking up there as well. And this whole band is going to head toward the New York border. Wind gusts are quite high. Winds are gusting to 47 miles per hour in New Haven and 46 miles per hour in Groton. It is safe to ignore the 183 mile per hour wind gust in Willimantic. No, that's not happening. The automated weather station's getting a little excited about the storm there. 35 mile per hour wind gusts in Windsor Locks, 40 in Waterbury. It's a blizzard, folks. We do have power outages, about 25,000 customers without power from CLMP. Scattered outages where the winds are the strongest in southeastern Connecticut. More isolated power outages to the north and west. Minor flooding during times of high tide. High tide's rolling in right now from New Haven down toward Fairfield County. Not a huge deal, but there will be some areas where we're looking at some coastal flooding in the next hour or so. Continuing coverage here on NBC Connecticut, and we will have a whole lot for you at 11. We have a team of reporters across the state. We'll have the very latest coming up at 11 o'clock.
This is NBC Connecticut News at 11 with continuing coverage of the blizzard of 2013.
And now take a look at live pictures from across the state tonight. The blizzard of 2013 in its full force. Take a closer look at Waterbury right now. You can see there's the tree and some lights, and the wind is just howling, and the snow is coming down as Brad and his weather colleagues predicted it would at this time of day. And this is Windsor Locks.
Yes, this is Bradley Airport there. You can see that snow blowing in the wind there, vehicles covered in snow. Similar scenes popping up all across the state tonight, and the snow totals, they're really starting to add up all across Connecticut, and so are the power outages.
Hi everybody, Jerry Brooks with Keisha Grant. Now let's take a look at CLNP's outage map. About 34,000 customers are in the dark right now. Those areas shaded in purple have the most outages. UI is reporting about 1,700 customers without power right now.
Needless to say, everyone is being told to stay off the roads. Metro North, Amtrak, and Shoreline East have all suspended service until further notice. Look at that scene. That is I-84 in Hartford.
Well, fortunately, everybody, or almost everybody, is taking Governor Malloy's order to stay off the roads to heart.
We do have a team of reporters live across the state covering this blizzard for you. We're going to show you the conditions outside where they are.
But first, let's go to our team of meteorologists. They've been tracking the storm all day into the night. We start with Brad Field.
All right, Jerry and Keisha, and good evening, everybody. I'll tell you what, this has been an amazing storm from a meteorological aspect. We've had thunder snow. We've had wind gusts over 60 miles per hour. We've even had small hail, and we have incredible snow totals. Let's take a look. We'll go to them first off. Here are some of the more prolific totals across the state. Coventry, 21 inches of snow. Durham, 21 inches. Higganum, 20 inches. Prospect, thank you, Scott, 18 inches of snow. Eastford, 17 inches. Let's check the larger cities. Hartford, 12 inches, and it's still coming. New Haven, 14 inches. Waterbury closing in on 10. New London closing in on a foot. Winstead closing in on a foot. We have a blizzard warning in effect. The blizzard warning is in effect throughout the night and through the morning. These are live pictures from Windsor Locks where they've had 5 inches of snow in the last hour. The temperature is 21 degrees. And look at that band of snow through the central part of the state. It has been putting down amazing amounts of snow. There are the wind gusts still gusting to 45 miles per hour at Groton. And take a look at this snow map that Garrett and Ryan and I put together. Most of us getting 15 to 30 inches of accumulation. My buddy Ryan Hanrahan is out in the snow. Ryan, you look like the abominable snowman.
You know, I'm wearing suit pants right now, Brad, but I just could not bear to be inside for this. I mean, this is just unbelievable. We've been snowing at like 4 or 5 inches an hour since 9 o'clock this afternoon. The snow's actually getting down my throat. Hey, let's take a look at this car here. Phil, if we can pan over. I don't know whose car this is, and no, I'm not going to dig it out for you. You can't even see the car parked in our parking lot here on the side of the building. This is absolutely unbelievable, and one of the reasons why this snow is so incredible is that it's coming down at a rate that is almost unheard of. We're talking about snowfall rates of 4 or 5 or 6 inches an hour, and yet on top of that, we are also talking about winds that are gusting over 50 miles per hour in some parts of the state, along the shoreline especially. Inland, we're looking at wind gusts between 30 and 45 miles per hour. Still the potential for some power outages, too, especially in southeastern Connecticut. Scattered outages expected there. More isolated totals inland, but boy, will there be a lot of drifting. And we're not done yet either. It's possible that some areas in central Connecticut, under the biggest band here of snow, are going to pick up another 10 inches of snow at least. Yeah, this is a remarkable storm, no doubt. We'll have more from outside here in West Hartford coming up in just a little bit. We'll send it back over to you.
No hat? No hat? All right,
And dress pants.
It's 21 degrees with a north-northeast wind of 26 miles per hour. And while I'll tell you the temperature has been dropping during the course of the evening hours, and there's 3D Doppler radar for you showing that the entire state is under light to moderate snow at the current time. Let's go outside to meteorologist Ryan Hanrahan, who is a braver man than me. Or
Well, Brad,
crazier
I
man
changed
than
it-
me.
Yeah, I changed into jeans. I thought that was a little bit more appropriate than the suit pants I had on before. And yeah, let's take a look at this snow because this is this is just remarkable. It is snowing at a really, really fast pace. I mean, we're looking at least 2, maybe 3 inches an hour right now. It's probably not as hard as it was about an hour ago, but we are still looking at incredible amounts of snow. And let's take a look at this car here because this is the story. We saw that in the Windsor locks from the Bradley Skycam, but here is one car and you can barely see it. You may be able to see some of the side mirrors there and the wheel well, but that's just about it. And everything is covered by an incredible amount of snow. And to put this in some perspective for you, here in West Hartford, we only had 7.5 inches at 9 o'clock. So we've more than doubled that since 9, and many places across the state will be well over 20 inches. And one quick record note for you guys. The record 24-hour snowfall in Connecticut officially at the official recording stations, 30 inches set back in 1969. We might come close to that in a couple towns, so we may be dealing with a record snowfall by the time all is said and done. And we still have hours and hours of this left to go. Just an incredible sight out here. We'll send it back to you, Jerry and Keisha.
Thank you very much, Ryan.
Well, I did have a quick question,
Yeah, go
though.
ahead.
Ryan, the wind chill must be brutal out there. I think we saw icicles hanging from the light post out
Hey,
there.
I think you're asking me a question, and Keisha, I'm sure it was a really good one, but I don't have an earpiece in. So, Keisha, I bet it was a great question, and when I come back inside, I will answer it for
I'll
you.
save it for you. How about that, Ryan? Oh, thank you.
I just want to know why he doesn't have a hat. Let's get the latest now in Waterbury. Alana Gold joins.
Turn to meteorologist Ryan Hanrahan, who's joining us. Good afternoon, Ryan. How are you?
Lisa, I'm good. A little rested. Yeah. A little rested.
You dug out?
I did dig out. The driveway is done.
Yes.
Jeff stayed over last night. I live right down the street from the station. So
Good.
I said, you know what? You left at, 8 o'clock? You were able to drive.
Yes, barely, by the
I
way.
know.
Yeah.
It's getting
got
bad.
there.
I left around midnight. I said, well, I can walk. How bad could it be? So I walked. I made it it's about 3/4 of a mile. I made it about 1/3 of the way, and then Tyler, the plow guy, was driving down New Britain Avenue and said, would you like a ride? And my first successful hitchhiking experience. I'm here to tell about it.
Excellent.
So
That's
it
good.
was
It's
great.
the goodwill of the weather. You know?
Yeah, you know,
Everybody helps out.
And you know, actually, the people plowing a lot of the driveways for the businesses around New Britain Avenue, they were all out in the middle of the storm helping people who were stuck because they were, and it was people who were trying to get out of a driveway or move their car, and I mean, everyone was sort of coming together and helping. And saw that today in my neighborhood. Everyone is out shoveling, snow blowing, and asking their neighbors, hey, can I do anything to help you? And
really
you know,
nice side comes out in people.
I was walking down with Jeff. We came to work. We were walking up the street to meet our truck, and I was a little nervous wearing the big NBC Connecticut park as the weather guy as people are digging out from 30 inches of snow.
But you got here.
I did. You know, I mean, just what an incredible storm, and we're going to talk a lot about records that we broke with this storm, and we have a few spots in the state where official records are kept. There's a couple locations, and it looks like in 2 of those locations we were able to break the record for the greatest amount of snow in a 24-hour period in Connecticut.
I want to give you all a little insight into my friend Ryan here because
Where's this going?
last night and this morning he would just sort of scamper outside and then come back in and scamper outside and come back in, and I thought, what on earth is he doing? Well, he's got this this weather equipment that I don't even know what it is, but it takes me back to high school chemistry days.
Yeah.
And you're putting things in it and then like melting and pouring and I just thought, you know what, I'm gonna let him do his thing and he can just tell me what the results are.
So basically, what you do is when you measure snow, you use the ruler, right? So you measure how much snow you have, but then you also want to try to figure out how much water is in the snow. So you take a rain gauge, you put it upside down, and it's called cutting a core. And you stick it down, and then you get the thing full of snow, and then you melt the snow, and then you measure it and figure out how much water was in there.
So how did the snow stack?
Well, we had 2.4 inches of water in 27 inches of snow. So that is a rather typical combination of liquid. Normally about 1 inch of rain gives you about 10 inches of snow. This was pretty close to that. But down on the shoreline, and we were talking about, unfortunately, some storm-related deaths starting to come in. I mean, the snow from Bridgeport to Madison, where they have 3 feet of snow in some areas, it is thick, heavy snow. It sleeted, and some areas it rained, and you were still able to get 3 feet of snow with 3 hours of sleet in there. I mean, that stuff is going to be almost impossible to move. So let's show you what's going on. Here's live 3D Doppler radar. The storm is still spinning around. It's still snowing out toward Cape Cod and the islands, eastern Massachusetts and eastern Maine. Still getting in on the snow. Here in Connecticut, we're done. The storm is over here. We're just getting the wind right now. We're still getting some winds out of the north that are gusting at times over 30 miles per hour. Here are the current wind gusts across the state. 38 miles per hour in Danbury, 39 in Greenwich, 31 in Hartford, and 33 miles per hour in Chester. The peak gust last night was down in Groton at 60 miles per hour. And where you have southeastern Connecticut, where the winds did gust to near 60 miles per hour, there were some power outages that continue. So how much did we see across the state? I mean, look at that. We have a large swath from about Staffordville, which is 31.7 inches. That's an official measurement there. We have about 5 or 6 official measurements from Weather Service spotters that measure this. 31.7 in Staffordville. That would break the state record for most snow in 24 hours. We have many other reports of 30 to 36 inches throughout Middlesex, New Haven, and down toward Bridgeport. The Bridgeport measurement, 30 inches there. Unbelievable snow. So at Bradley, there was a little area of not as much snow. Windsor Locks, Collinsville, Canton, a lot of areas around here about 22, 23 inches. Windsor as well, a little bit less. So the old record stands, and that was set back in January 2011. Remember all the snow we had in January 2011? The record from 2011 was 24 inches, so 22.3 inches fell just short. But if you want to break a record, you want to break it with style, right? Look at Bridgeport. 30.0 inches of snow in Bridgeport. The old record was 17.7. We broke the record by a foot. And that Bridgeport total, well, that also breaks the old record for the most snow at an official weather spot in the state. The old record was 28 inches, set back in Middletown. And get this, Lisa and Jeff, it was set back in 1897. So yeah, this was a really, really impressive record to break. So as you take a look at these numbers, I mean, we were looking at snowfall totals that we have not seen in quite some time. You have to go, you start talking about the big ones. And the big storms that we've seen, the blizzard of 1978 comes to mind, and the difference between this storm and 1978, a couple things. One, this storm produced more snow than 1978, so more snow.
Okay.
This storm also had a lot of warning. We knew it was coming, so people were prepared. They got off the road.
Right,
so in 1978, a lot of
true.
people went to work, and it wasn't that they didn't know snow was coming. In 1978, weather forecasts were not taken nearly as seriously as they are now. I mean, we've gotten a lot better since 1978. The second thing, though, the winds in 78 were a whole lot stronger than they were with this storm. So the drifts were way more impressive in 78 than they were in 2013. Still, though, this is a big one.
Will you put that accumulation map on Facebook? Because
I will.
we both took out our phones.
The minute you did it, we were like, look at that.
That's incredible.
That was amazing.
I know. I mean,
right.
just unbelievable stuff.
Thanks, Ryan.
You're welcome.
Our coverage continues right after this break.
Though the plow crews are doing a great job, a lot of the secondary roads are still covered by tons and tons and tons of snow.
Yeah, I'm getting reports, you know, via social media, a friend in Wallingford, their street hasn't been touched. Now,
yeah, not surprised.
Maybe we're spoiled, because I know every street that I had to use to get from point A to point B was at least clear enough for my four-wheel drive to get through. I went through some serious, you know, walls.
Yeah.
But places in Wallingford, I have some reports out of Avon where, you know, think about it, you live at the end of a cul-de-sac, you think, you know, this is what we always wanted, our dream home. We're at the end of a cul-de-sac with a nice
white
lawn,
picket fence,
a long windy driveway, and those are the things that are most challenging right now, is that the plows can't get to every street. It's going to take through the day tomorrow into Monday.
And right now what the towns are doing, the towns are trying to clear off the main roads, the primary roads, so they're able to get emergency vehicles safely from one side of town to another side of town. Once they get that done, and in many cases that's still not done yet, they're going to start working on the side roads and the more rural roads, but that's going to take a while. So, you know, we may not even be looking at some of the side roads in the state being cleared until late tomorrow, and in the cities especially where it's always very challenging to get the streets cleared. It may not be for some streets until Monday, so it's going to be some problems. Now, let's head over to Tracker right now at Weather Pro. Let's take a look at Weather Pro if we can, and take a look at some of the official snowfall totals across the state, and this is just remarkable how much snow we've seen. And these are the official numbers. We know there's some higher amounts, but take a look at this.
Yeah, these guys they're official observers, and there's a certain protocol that you have to follow. And you might be saying, "Oh, these numbers are low. Come on." Well, there's a certain protocol, and you have to clean off the snowboard, certain time increments. Since you're an official observer, you probably know is it every 6 hours.
Every 6 hours.
Every 6 hours, you clear it off to a remeasurement.
You need the right location. You have away from drifts. And, there are 6 official measurement sites in the state that are used that reported snowfall this morning. There's more than that, but there's 6 that reported snowfall. So we do know if you take 6 spots in Connecticut, random spots, there's, of course, some areas that got more snow, but those are just a sample of those 6 spots. And the 2 spots at the top, Stafford and Bridgeport at 31.4 and 30 inches. What sticks out to me, and New Hartford, look at New Hartford, 28. Those are in 3 totally different parts of the state. That's the Northwest Hills, the Northeast Hills, and the shoreline in Bridgeport, and they all had 28 inches or more of snow. That just shows you how remarkable. This isn't like Wallingford got 30 inches and no one else did.
Right.
This is whole swaths of the state that got this amount of snow, and the Bridgeport record is pretty impressive. Yeah, but when you break a record, we talk about this. We talked a little bit earlier this afternoon about this, and when we have a higher low temperature that we break, although we seem to break more highs and lows recently. We do.
It's a degree or 2. Sometimes maybe we'll blow up a record by 5 degrees. But when you break a snow record by a foot, it's what? That's 70% of the old record, 80% of the old, 70% of the old record on top of it.
And Bridgeport averages in a season, in a typical season, the average snowfall in Bridgeport is a whopping 26 inches. So they got 30 inches in 24 hours, which is what Bridgeport typically gets in an entire season.
And that's, so now you're at 200% of normal because you're at 52 inches for 52. The season.
Yeah, up in Windsor Locks, we didn't break the record. There was a tiny little area that didn't get as much snow, 22.3 inches at Bradley Airport, second greatest snow on record there. The old record was set measly 2 years ago, back in 2011. And let's take a look at this one more time. Look at that huge swath of 30-plus inches of snow across the state.
Just incredible, a nor'easter that will go down the record books. And as we said, 78 still special for so many reasons. But now our children will tell their grandchildren and will tell stories about how we lived through the great blizzard of 2013.
And the October snowstorm was certainly an exceptionally high-impact storm. To think 2 years later we got a storm that people are going to be talking about for years and years and years to come is pretty remarkable. You have a whole lot more coming up. NBC Connecticut News at 6 starts right now.
This is NBC Connecticut News at 6.
A familiar sound, the snow blowers and the shovels are out as Connecticut starts digging out from this record-breaking blizzard. Hi, everybody. I'm Jerry Brooks.
I'm Keisha Grant. Governor Malloy is expected to update us on the aftermath of the storm and the state's cleanup efforts in just a few minutes. You're taking a live look right now at the Armory. As soon as he begins to speak, we'll bring it to you.
But first, let's take a look at where things stand. The storm is being blamed for 4 deaths in Connecticut. More than 37,000 customers are still without power right now. This afternoon, the governor lifted the travel ban on state highways. Our team of reporters has fanned out across the state tonight, and we begin with Deborah Bogsty in Plainfield. Deborah.
Jerry, good evening from Plainfield. Take a look at this snowbank that I'm standing in here. This snow all piled up from plows. Fortunately, the roads in this town are passable. We did take a ride earlier today and found a lot of people digging out. It's the sound heard around Plainfield and other communities as residents dig out from the blizzard of 2013. Among them, Phil Devine on Kate Downing Road.
We got I measured about 26 inches in the front yard, and I've been out since about 7 o'clock this morning, clearing paths to feed my horses and clear out the garage driveways.
Up the road, we found these people hard at work, helping out a friend in need.
I love it. I mean, I'd rather have this much snow than a few inches. I mean, it kind of not so much fun removing it, but once this part's over, it's good.
Oh, it's crazy. It's great, though. I love the snow. It's beautiful. I just don't like shoveling, but it's okay. It's okay.
So a lot of work for people in this community and certainly around the state. And we go now live to Hartford for Governor Malloy's
Responded to 3,000 calls, and he said the storm is responsible for 5 deaths. That's one more than we reported just a few moments ago. He has asked for a federal declaration for emergency aid as well.
The governor also pointing out several concerns that he has right now at this moment. The first one being those 35,000 CLMP customers who were still without power tonight. The governor saying that he is very concerned about those dropping temperatures. And in terms of restoration with CLMP, the crews are still in what he calls make safe mode. So they're trying to make it safe for them to get out there to even begin the restoration process, which he expects to really begin in earnest tomorrow. The governor also mentioning that there are shelters that are open across the state, a couple of them East Lyme, also Stonington. And if you need to find a shelter to keep warm tonight, you should dial 211.
Couple of travel notes. He has lifted the travel ban on the highways, but still urges all of us to keep off the highways if possible. In his words, they're not as safe as he would like them to be. And there is also word that Bradley will reopen tomorrow morning at 6, but the airport being open and your flight being available are two different things. So call ahead if you have a flight out of Bradley tomorrow morning. The storm has forced a couple of big events to reschedule.
Yeah, the Bon Jovi concert at Mohegan Sun has been rescheduled for Friday, October 25th. All tickets will be honored on that date.
And both Monster Jam shows at the XL Center in Hartford were also canceled today. Tickets will be honored at either remaining performance, or you can get a refund. Our crews have been out in this weather for 2 days now.
They certainly have. We want to turn now to Alana Gold live in Waterbury. Alana, how's the cleanup going there?
Keisha, there's a lot of cleanup to do here in Waterbury. There is so much snow, and in some places it's piled so high it's actually at my eye level. Right now we are at West Main and Thomaston, and today we've seen about a half dozen cars get stuck and stranded at this intersection, and it's been like this all across the city. Cars across Waterbury are buried in snow. They're surrounded by 5-foot-high banks, and that makes digging out a tough task.
There must have been like 3 feet of snow on top of it. Like his car is like completely buried.
Laura Bradshaw's car is stuck on Pine Street. She's been stranded all day and won't risk walking anywhere.
I walked home, and that took me like forever because the snow was like so deep.
Tow truck drivers have their work cut out for them, especially on West Main Street.
There's a lot of snow and a lot of stuck cars.
We caught up with Ken Williamson during one of his many jobs this afternoon.
Upwards of 10.
How does that compare to a normal day?
Normally I would be home watching football on my couch right now.
Plows are hitting the streets and parking lots nonstop, and crews are exhausted.
I've been on the road plowing since about 9 o'clock yesterday morning. I'm just going home to get something to eat, and then I'll be back at it.
Because there's still so much snow to clear in Waterbury, and it could be like this for days.
Got about 3 feet of snow left in the parking lots at the hospital that needs to be cleared.
And we're actually seeing a fair amount of traffic here at this intersection tonight. That's exactly what police don't want to see, because the temperature is dropping. These roads are going to get very icy. It will also be very easy to get stuck, so police want everyone to stay at home unless you have an emergency. Reporting live in Waterbury, Alana Gold, NBC Connecticut News. Jerry and Keisha, back to you.
Thank you, Alana. In Cheshire, yeah, this is a familiar sight. The weight of the snow from the storm, it caused the town's pool bubble cover to collapse. You may recall the bubble collapsed in the heavy winter weather of a couple of years ago, and it was an ongoing story in Cheshire for really quite some time. Well, it happened again this morning at the Main Street site, so we'll be hearing a little bit more about the Cheshire Pool bubble.
Yeah, tough going there for them again. Our coverage continues now in Manchester.
Diana Rossini has been having all sorts of adventures there. She joins us live. Hi, Di.
That is true. Hello, Jerry, Keisha. Hello, everyone. 3 feet of snow. That's what the people in Manchester woke up to today. Guys like Carlos last night, they were smart enough to just leave the car here. He said, you know what, I'm not even going to take the chance. But those that did venture out, those that dug themselves out of their driveways, they came out, they came to the mobile gas station to get gas, food, coffee. They wound up getting stuck here. And go figure, people buy all expensive equipment, snow blowers, cars with 4-wheel drive. Yet this was the secret to success today. Pieces of cardboard, people were sticking them under their wheel to get some traction, and off they went. And it was very challenging. I saw over 25 to 30 cars get stuck today, but don't take it from me. Take a listen to them.
It's just real slick. It's deep. They're just one lanes. Like, you have to gun it to get through it.
The main roads are okay.
It's taking me about 2 hours just to take a half-a-mile trip down the roads.
The state roads, the highways seemed okay, but the back roads are tough.
It's really bad. You're gonna slide everywhere. The roads are not plowed at all. Just not good idea to be out.
What are you gonna do now?
Try to get out somehow.
They're greasy.
If you don't have 4-wheel drive, you don't come out.
Hey, what were you coming out for?
Just for some coffee.
And that's it. That's all Al was coming out for, coffee. 7 hours later, Al went home. You can see right here the intersection outside Buckland Hills Mall. Traffic is moving. Cars have been coming out, and so far, the problems seem to be dwindling. No one's here at the gas station anymore, except Carlos digging out. We are live in Manchester. Diana Rossini, NBC Connecticut News. Jerry, Keisha, back to you.
Diana, man, did that coffee run go bad? Thank you. What a story. Thank you.
I think she's had a few cups herself.
I think she has.
One couple still trying to get married despite the storm.
George Colley has their story from Hartford.
We got one more update before this fine Benelli wedding gets started here tonight in Hartford. We're joined now with Jillian. Before she puts the dress on, it's been a little bit of a crazy day for you. Bring us through it.
It's been a crazy, hectic, insane day. From start to finish. I obviously did not sleep last night. Woke up, watched the news from start to finish, and it's just been nuts. About 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, ceremony, reception, canceled. Had no plans. So all of my girls came together and threw together a wedding for me and my fiance in the Hilton, and it's been amazing. The Hartford Hilton has really come through for us. Everyone's really come through for us.
And you had a DJ that couldn't make it, a florist who did just come.
Yep, our florist just walked in the door with all of our flowers. Our DJ, we're still trying to get a DJ right now. He just agreed. He's on his way. My videographer's been here. My photographer made it. It's just been a whirlwind.
And Mazzucato's stepping up with a cake.
Mazzucato's coming in with a cake for us. Kim's Cottage Confections had it for us. She called me. She was so sorry. She did a wonderful job on the cake, and she just could not get here. The snow just buried her. But yeah, Mazzucato's came through, and they are putting together our wedding cake for us.
So at this point, there's only one thing left to do.
Say I do. That's right.
Well, Jillian, thank you for allowing us to get a behind-the-scenes look at this weekend. It's one that we know you're never going to forget. I don't think any of the viewers are going to forget this, so we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And to Dan as well.
Thank you.
From the Hartford Hilton, the bridal suite, George Colley, NBC Connecticut News. Back to you guys.
Thank you, George. She's a beautiful bride.
They should make him best man by now.
I know.
I mean, really.
One of the hardest hit areas out of this storm was in the southeastern part of the state. The power outages there. Here's a look at the latest outage map. CLMP saying that there are about 35,000 homes and businesses still without power at this hour.
Amanda Rouse, as always, is live in Old Saybrook with what's going on down there. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Jerry, Keisha. We're very fortunate here in Old Saybrook that we're not seeing those kind of power outages that other shoreline communities are. What we're seeing right now is just bitter cold. There's still a little bit of wind, and of course, there's still a lot of snow. And what does that mean? Well, that means a lot of people are still shoveling out tonight. When the flakes stopped falling and the wind calmed down to a reasonable roar, people in Old Saybrook looked out their windows and knew there was work to do. So they headed out and hit the snow.
I think I started at 9. Yeah, 9. And my dad's been doing the plow, but I've been doing the shovel. And obviously, shovel takes longer.
Especially exhausting because of the ice that came along with the snow. This isn't like anything the area has seen before, at least not in a long time.
This is something out of the ordinary. We were just talking about the contrast between being out here during Sandy and being out here during this snow event.
While this storm didn't do as much widespread damage, it's leaving its mark, that's for sure. But it couldn't stop everything in its path. Tonight's wedding at the Saybrook Point Inn is going on as scheduled. The guests just don't know how long they'll be staying for with all the snow around them.
We'll be here all day and tomorrow, and I'm supposed to fly out tomorrow night, but we'll see what happens.
A lot of wait and see here and around Connecticut. I'm sure that this storm is testing a little bit of people's patience. Live in Old Saybrook, Amanda Rouse, NBC Connecticut News.
Amanda, thank you.
Bradley Airport will be back up and running tomorrow morning.
NBC Connecticut Sabina Kuriakos joins us live from Windsor Locks. And Sabina, we know the airport's going to be open, but do you have any time frame for when flights might be taking off again?
You know what, Jerry Keisha, the airport's going to open at 6 o'clock. That means arrivals are going to start happening. The flights are going to be coming in, but the airport's got to wait for those aircraft to get to the airport before they can start scheduling departures. And officials do want to stress that passengers, even though they hear that the airport's open, they got to check with their individual airline about when their flight is going to be rescheduled. It's up to the individual carrier about when their flights are going to resume. So, yeah, the airport's opening at 6 o'clock, but you got to check if you have a flight, what time that flight is rescheduled for through your airline. Now, as you can see, I'm standing on just this giant mountain of snow. We're seeing this all throughout the area. These piles that the plows are leaving. We're actually sitting outside a hangar, one of the hangars that surround Bradley International Airport. This is good, though. This means that there's progress. Like there's progress over at Bradley Airport. As officials told me, they've cleared that main runway, and those ramps and parking lots that we talked about earlier, those are now clear enough for the airport to reopen. That's welcome news for folks who we talked to around this area, people stranded at hotels and restaurants waiting for that flight to get home. We spoke with one woman who was a long way from home. You got places to go and people to see?
Yes, I do. I have a family that's in Ohio, and I was expecting to be home because I've been gone really here for 2 weeks.
Now, officials not expecting a rush tomorrow morning, even though they do open at 6. Of course, they mentioned that departures, everything's a little bit staggered, so the arrivals are going to come in and then the departures should start. For now, that's the very latest here in Windsor Locks. Reporting live, Sabina Kuriakos, NBC Connecticut News. Jerry and Keisha, back to you.
All right, let's take a look at the snow totals because, Bob, this is just an incredible, incredible storm.
It's the one that the storms in the future will be compared to this great blizzard of 2013. Incredible snowfall totals of 30 to 36 inches in that red shaded area. That huge blob that stretches from mid-Fairfield County all the way up into Talon County, talking about 2.5 to 3 feet of snow. And then the 24 to 36 inch range is in that white area, and then lesser amounts as you work your way toward the New York border. 30 inches reported in Monroe, 35 in Fairfield, 24 in Higganum, 35 inches in Wallingford, 3 feet in Meriden is the latest report. Harwinton about 23, and notice the far northwest hill towns had the least amount of snow. Kind of odd. 11 at Bridgewater, 12 at Lakeville, 29 inches reported out of Granby, 24 in Ashford, 31 or so in Tolland, 32 in Manchester, and almost 3 feet of snow reported by our weather watcher Jay in East Haddam. Just amazing. 33 inches from the Hanrahans in Guilford. So we're always happy to get that report too. Temperatures right now are dropping. They're in the teens to around 20 through the interior and 20s to mid-20s along the shoreline. Planning out your evening, stay inside, hunker down, get a nice fire going in the fireplace, and you go from the 20s all the way down to 0 by morning. Cold night coming up tonight. Ryan has the rest of the forecast, right?
Yeah, no doubt. Temperatures are going to be very cold out there later tonight. Let's take a look at that storm that will be pulling away off to the east. The storm will depart, and behind it, we will see high pressure building in. So a cold day during the day tomorrow with temperatures about freezing, but a lot of sunshine. So Sunday looks like a very, very nice day to dig out. It'll be a little warmer than it was today. So temperatures in the single digits, both above and below 0. cold with less wind. The winds north 10 to 20 miles per hour sustained now. The winds will diminish after midnight, especially to about 5 or 10 miles per hour. Sunny and beautiful tomorrow. Temperatures in the low 30s. Light winds out there. Tomorrow looks like a pretty good day. Temperatures in the upper 20s in northwest and northeast Connecticut. About 30 or so along the shoreline. A little bit of sleet or snow early Monday morning. Changes over to some rain during the day on Monday. Temperatures in the upper 30s. Monday's just sort of a nasty day with lots of slush and lots of puddles. Partly sunny skies for Tuesday. Partly sunny for Wednesday. Temperatures in the low 40s. So a little bit of melting. And then we will have to watch 2 storms, one Thursday and one Saturday.
Enough.
I know, right? At this point, the odds of a hit, 50-50, let's say,
Well,
for Thursday and Friday.
define storm.
It's snow. It's a little snow.
Yeah.
And he'll leave it at that.
We'll see. We have plenty of time to watch. Let's just dig out from this storm, and then we'll deal with that later. More at 11.
Buy you a cup of coffee, take a break.
That would be nice.
Ryan.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us. NBC Nightly News is next.
We will be back for a special hour of coverage at 7 o'clock and, of course, again at 11. You can also get updates anytime. NBC Connecticut.
This is NBC Connecticut News at 5.
Snow removal is causing problems for drivers during the worst time, rush hour. You're taking a live look right now at I-84 in Hartford. It's rough going out there. Crews are removing snow off the highway. And, well, you can see the backup, lots of brake lights there. Cars are bumper to bumper all the way to West Hartford, even on the side streets and beyond. Hi, everybody. I'm Keisha Grant.
I'm Lisa Carberg. NBC Connecticut's Ilana Gold is live near I-84 in Prospect in West Hartford. Ilana, what can you tell us?
Lisa, right now, I-84 is a big mess heading east into Hartford. Take a look at this backup. The line goes on for miles. It has been like this for hours, too, and there's no telling when it will free up. This traffic cam will show you why. Crews are plowing snow through the Hartford area right now at the Asylum exit. There is still so much snow on the shoulders, and in some of the lanes, it needs to be removed before it ices up because that could pose such a danger to drivers. And because there's such a backup on the interstate, a lot of the cars have gotten off at the closest exit, and the side roads are packed too, so expect some delays there as well tonight. The state could be plowing the interstates across all of Connecticut for the next few days. So if you're going to be headed on them, you might want to leave early because you could experience some substantial delays. Reporting live in West Hartford, Ilana Gold, NBC Connecticut News. Keisha and Lisa, back to you.
Ilana, thank you. 5 days after the blizzard of 2013, and there are still streets in the city of Bridgeport that haven't seen a plow. The mayor says crews simply couldn't handle the amount of snow that fell, but tonight help has arrived from a city that's used to a lot of snow. Buffalo, New York. NBC Connecticut's Ryan Hanrahan live in Bridgeport with that story. Ryan.
Keisha, there are countless streets in Bridgeport that are impassable, and believe it or not, this street right here is one of the better looking streets following the great blizzard. First responders have had to come up with creative ways to respond to emergencies. Here on East Avenue near Barnum Avenue, a 911 call came in from a man who couldn't get to the hospital for a dialysis treatment. The fire department had to use this sled, something they've done many times since Saturday.
We loaded the person in the Stokes basket, and we tied him down, and our guys dragged him on the snow using the sled so the ambulance could load him up and get him to dialysis.
While many side streets in Bridgeport remain untouched, huge snowbanks and chunks of ice have turned downtown streets like Main Street into parking lots. Gridlock is the word of the day, and that's hard for the plows and for the emergency workers.
Usually it's like pull right up in front and carry them right down, put them right in the ambulance. It's a snap. This is labor intensive, and it's a tough job.
Residents know the danger of having unplowed streets for days and days.
Right now, there's sick people on this block that if they needed to go to the hospital, guess what? The National Guard's not going to make it in here.
Mayor Bill Finch says this storm has been extraordinary, and his public works crews have done incredible work, although he acknowledges there's still work to do.
It's completely aggravating, but this is the price of living in New England and Mother Nature. We're doing the best we can. We're bringing in heavy equipment from all over New England. Cities generally have about 10 payloaders. I think we have 7 or 8.
Extra help is coming in from the state, other Fairfield County towns, and even upstate New York. The mayor of Buffalo sent payloaders to Bridgeport to help haul snow.
Our civil servants in the city of Bridgeport are working doubly hard to get these streets cleared, and they've been up sometimes 20, 30, 40 hours.
Coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, we will take a look at one street in the city's East End that decided enough was enough. They took matters into their own hands instead of waiting for the city plow trucks. Live in Bridgeport, I'm Ryan Hanrahan, NBC Connecticut News. Lisa, back to you.
Wow, quite a picture there. Well, some help in Waterbury came in the form of teenagers showing up, shovels in hand, ready to work. Mayor Neil O'Leary put out the call for paid shoveling jobs today and got a big response. They were offered minimum wage to clear the area around City Hall. Tomorrow, city leaders are asking them for help clearing around public schools. And the city of New Haven making progress clearing streets there.
Yeah, the community is ready for its second phase of snow removal. Today, city leaders showed Governor Malloy what New Haven is facing during that process. Amanda Rouse continues our team coverage live in New Haven with that part of the story. Amanda.
Well, Keisha, Governor Malloy says out of the other cities in Connecticut, New Haven is actually faring pretty well. I mean, sure, it does have more work to do, but when you look at things like Bridgeport that Ryan just showed us, well, New Haven doesn't look so bad. But try telling that to the residents who are still snowed in. 4 days after the blizzard, this is the first payloader that Cornelius Washington says he's seen on Shelter Street.
It's been a lot of snow, a lot of issues, and people aren't happy.
Washington and his car have been stuck for days. And even when he managed to dig the car out, it wouldn't start, so he still can't move it.
Don't get me wrong, I understand you need the car to be moved, but what am I supposed to do at this point? The car's been buried in the snow for so many days. Nobody actually got to the streets in enough time, so what am I supposed to do about that?
Mayor John DeStefano says as of this afternoon, the city has made all roads passable. Now the next step is widening the streets and removing the snow. All vehicles in the way will be towed.
The major arteries that are posted with hard street signs we will be towing commencing Tuesday night at 6 p.m. These are the major roads, the Whaley Avenues into the city. That'll last until 6 a.m. Wednesday morning. Then Wednesday night, 6 p.m., we're going back into the neighborhoods to widen.
That means on Wednesday night, there will be no parking on the odd side of the street so crews can get in. Governor Malloy went to Grand Avenue and Shelter Street to survey the progress.
I think in some senses, New Haven's got a leg up on some even of the other cities in that regard, because New Haven was laid out generally with wider streets.
Still, residents say they're not impressed.
And I understand it's the worst one we've had in years, since supposedly 78, but in the day, it's just they need to be more, I guess you say, vigilant in their job as far as cleaning the snow up.
And they're working on it. And just a moment ago, when we were here on Church Street, we actually saw a vehicle coming with a PA system telling everyone here on Church Street this is one of the main roads. The cars need to be out by 6 or else you risk the getting towed. Live outside our New Haven studios, Amanda Rouse, NBC Connecticut News.
Thanks, Amanda. High snowbanks across Connecticut have forced the DMV to cancel road tests until Thursday as a safety precaution. You can reschedule road test appointments by calling the DMV phone center. The blizzard of 2013 was a budget buster for so many communities across our state. Several towns told us today this storm wiped out their winter storm budgets for the year. In Clinton, the first selectman tells our Jeff Saperstone there's probably nothing left of their $250,000 budget, but the prompt disaster declaration by President Obama has helped.
We initiated immediately, solicitation of private contractors, getting our guys to do whatever needed to be done to remedy the situation.
We'll tell you how other communities are coping tonight at 6 o'clock.
Wow, those mountains of snow are growing. Well, other states are sending their soldiers to help Connecticut dig out. Pennsylvania's National Guard is arriving right now to help.
And since all the lights are back on, CLMP is now helping cities and towns dig out. Our team coverage continues with NBC Connecticut's Stefania Jimenez.
It wasn't easy for Luis Martinez to get to work yesterday in New Britain, but he did it.
My feet were damp, just actually it's like half of my to my knees was just so cold and damp.
That was before the National Guard rolled in with extra equipment and excavators like this to help clear the streets.
We have all of our bucket loaders and engineer assets out in force, and they're in other towns helping out.
That's welcome news, says Robert Miller.
any help is needed. You know, they could bring anybody in to help, you know, extra help, you know, get it faster, more efficient.
The mayor's office says now you can walk or drive through all streets of New Britain after Public Works and the National Guard plowed them. But now the focus will be on widening the streets so more cars can get through. Soon, that sound will be heard across Connecticut. Colonel John Whitford of the Connecticut National Guard says 2 other states are sending 100 National Guard troops here to remove snow.
Pennsylvania and Maine to come in with equipment operators along with engineer equipment to integrate with us and help towns.
And CLNP is also devoting resources like this to help clear snow in hard-hit towns like Beacon Falls that got slammed with more than 3 feet of snow.
We tried to keep up with it, and it fell faster than we can keep cleaning up behind us.
Help from CLNP and the National Guard is sitting well with people like Luis, who hopes things return to normal soon.
Be more comfortable commuting, you know, going to work and back and forth.
Stefania Jimenez, NBC Connecticut News.
For so many children, they've had an extra vacation, not of school for 3 days now. In communities across Connecticut, efforts are underway to clear school parking lots and roofs. NBC Connecticut's Deborah Bogsty continues our team coverage from Meriden.
At Pulaski Elementary School in Meriden, crews are hard at work clearing snow from the parking lot and shoveling it off the school's roof. It's a similar scene at schools across the city.
In addition to having regular plows, we have payloaders, which are moving the snow because you just can't push all this snow. We also are very concerned about our roof drains, making sure that those are clear. And any long, flat areas of roof spans, we need to make sure that we move the snow off of there.
Students in this district have already missed 3 days, and they'll miss a 4th on Wednesday.
April is weather dependent, and this has been a tough winter.
Because of that, the district's April vacation is being scaled back at least 2 days.
It's going to take away a lot of fun, but we've had a few days to, you know, chill and stay home.
While school buildings in Meriden are ready to go, the problem remains in neighborhoods like this where roads are simply too narrow for buses to travel down. And while some sidewalks are open and ready for students to walk on, others like this remain completely covered.
This is crazy, you know, like only 1 lane. It's supposed to be 2 lanes right here. It's horrible.
In Middletown, work continues to get that city's schools back on track. There will be no school in this district for the rest of the week. Crews spent the day clearing entrances, parking lots, and sidewalks. A tall task with so much snow.
It's very difficult, very difficult. We've been here since Friday.
Engineers will check over schools in both cities to make sure they're structurally sound before reopening. Deborah Bogsty, NBC Connecticut News.
We're following breaking news from Southern California, where there is a possible gunfight underway between police and fugitive Christopher Dorner. This is unfolding in Big Bear Lake. These are live pictures, aerials of the neighborhood where it's unfolding. It's about 100 miles east of Los Angeles. There are reports that 2 officers have been wounded in the shootout. Dorner is a former LAPD officer and is accused of killing 3 people, including a Riverside, California police officer. The area around Big Bear has been blocked off. We'll continue to follow the story and bring you more information as it becomes available.
I'm Doug Green in Hamden, where the only thing growing on Garden Street is abandoned cars. And the work continues and the back muscles scream. The story at 5:30.
President Obama is preparing tonight's State of the Union address. We'll have a preview of what's on his agenda for his 2nd term, and who from Connecticut will be attending the speech.
On just one station, more on how a woman in labor made it to the hospital in the middle of the blizzard.
And Lisa, we could sure use some more good news like that, and overall I believe we have it. I'll explain. My Weather Center forecast is coming up.
NBC Connecticut News at 6.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jerry Brooks.
I'm Lisa Carberg. We begin with traffic trouble on I-84 at this hour. Snow removal causing this backup in Hartford. This is the scene near Asylum Street, but the problem stretches into West Hartford and is even clogging side streets. If you're heading out, you're asked to find another route.
We're also awaiting Governor Malloy's latest update on cleanup efforts. We will, of course, bring it to you live. But first, stuck cars and unplowed roads. This is what it still looks like in Bridgeport after the blizzard of 2013. NBC Connecticut's Ryan Hanrahan begins our team coverage from Bridgeport. Ryan.
Jerry, the people who live here on 6th Street decided enough was enough. Dozens of them this morning grabbed shovels and snow blowers to try to make the streets passable, something that the city's plows weren't able to do.
We have to get out, and that's why we all came together this morning.
And so all the neighbors are here working?
All of our neighbors are here.
From frustration to action, the people who live on 6th Street took snow plowing into their own hands.
We're trying. I don't know how far we're getting, but it looks good so far.
Francesca Irvin Campbell did what she could to open up her street and make sure her neighbors were okay.
We've been calling each other, trying to communicate, trying to see how we can help each other.
On East Avenue off Barnum Avenue, the street hadn't been touched until late in the afternoon when a payloader started moving snow.
We've been snowed in for days, and it's bad. We can't get anywhere. We can't get to work. We can't get the kids to school, even though they're closed.
But it's not just the side streets that are a huge problem. Huge mounds of snow on Main Street and chunks of ice led to gridlock all day long. Mayor Finch says the city is doing what it can, digging out from the worst blizzard since 1888, but some residents aren't buying it.
He needs a better plan. This is not cool. We got all these old people, kids and everybody digging ourselves out. Okay, it's been 4 days. You think that's fair? Now there's more snow coming. I don't think his plan's working.
Now, as you can see, 6th Street here is passable, albeit barely passable. There's just a very narrow lane here for cars to get in, just one car each way. Now, we have learned from the mayor's office that they expect 40 more streets to be open by later tonight. We're now going to head to Hartford to Governor Malloy, who's addressing the state.
We are now 3 days out.